to get more and better results, both personally and professionally. I'm your host, Jean Oursler, the Results Queen. And today we have David Deutsc. David, say hello.
Hello. How is everyone doing?
Hey, everyone's great today. And David actually is an author in our Breakthrough Results anthology book. And that's why David here is today, because he is an author. But he's also here today because he's a LinkedIn expert. And he can generate more leads than you can ever imagine through the ways of LinkedIn. So for so many of us who may not think social media is the right way, or for those of us who use social media in a different way, David is your guy to teach you how to generate leads through the fabulousness of LinkedIn. And with that, I'm going to ask David to add more and introduce himself, because that's how I see him. So David, you're on.
Well, thanks so much, Jean. And actually, if you wouldn't mind, instead of me introducing myself, why don't you talk a little bit about when we worked together with your LinkedIn? I think that would be, frankly, for both of us, and perhaps also for your audience, more illustrative, because I can talk all day. I do talk all freaking day. But I think that what was your thoughts? So your thoughts, you brought me on as the author, you brought me on the show, we worked together. Tell us about your experience with me.
You know, it's bad when the interviewee makes the interviewer the interviewee. You realize that, right? So I will tell you that David and I have worked together, and David was an author in our book, and David is spectacular. And what David does is he has a proprietary system that teaches you how to cull what you have in LinkedIn to generate more leads. And I will tell you that it absolutely works. So that's my endorsement for David.
That's the most important. And the reason I asked that, right, there's actually a reason I asked that. Okay. Because to me, the most powerful social network in the world isn't on the internet.
Oh.
To me, the most powerful social network in the world is yours.
Oh.
It's the people you like, know, and trust. The people like, know, and trust you. The fact that Jean just endorsed me is more powerful than anything. Because if I hired Roger Federer to come out and say, at a billboard and say, hey, look at this guy, he's great. Right?
I love Roger Federer. Are you kidding me?
Granted. But if Roger Federer said I'm great, but 3 of your friends said don't work with this guy, he's a scam artist, who would you trust?
Yeah, I hear you. You're right.
That's how business is done today on all levels. That's why celebrity endorsements, I think their value generally is decreasing. What's really increasing, the real value, is person-to-person endorsements.
Ooh, interesting. So how do I increase my person-to-person endorsements?
Do a good job. I think you're the results queen, and I can absolutely point to the fact that she is the results queen. I've worked with Jean. She's been spectacular for me. People I know just rave about her. So right off the bat, that's number one, right? Do a good job. For me, the basics of business haven't changed at all because of online technology. In fact, I'm on the road all day, shaking the hands, kissing the babies, meeting people, going to networking events, handing out my business card, following up, and doing what I say I'm going to do. In fact, I've even taken that to the next level. What I really specialize in doing is meeting people and saying 5 magic words. How can I help you?
That's all it is.
How can I help you? And that does a number of things. Number one, it takes a lot of the pressure off of me to self-promote, because I hate self-promoting like a lot of people. Look at me, I'm this. It just makes me cringe a little bit. So instead, I say, what can I do for you? How can I help you? And whether you're looking for a job or you're a billionaire venture capitalist or anything in between, I ask you the same question. What can I do for you? And when I ask people what I can do for them, amazing things happen, because you never know what someone needs until you ask.
Truth. Okay, so I have to ask, because this is for women, and there are a lot of women out there who have a hard time asking for things for themselves. So thinking about that, what's your advice? I realize you're a guy, but give some advice.
All right, as I've been a guy my whole life, just you know.
I know that.
Well, you never know these days. There was a so I was at a conference last year. A woman named Catherine O'Neill. She is the chair of she's the executive director, of the Jumpstart Angel Investor Network, one of the oldest and largest angel investor networks on the East Coast. She's the executive director. I've known her for a few years, and I met her at a conference, and we're chatting away. And I said, Catherine, guess what I said to her?
I don't know. What'd you say to her?
How can I help you?
Oh, what a trap.
A very wealthy, very well-connected, under-the-radar woman, right? How can I help you? She goes, I give a lot of public talks, and I keep losing my voice. I need a voice coach, not a public speaking coach, a voice coach. I don't know any, but what I did was I took to Facebook and I went on my phone. I said, does anyone know a voice coach? And I found her one within an hour.
Wow.
She physically, and I don't mean like metaphorical, she physically grabbed my coat, and dragged me around this conference going, David, you need to meet this one because this one, you need to meet David. And she says someone else, this is someone you need to meet. This is a good guy, David. So instead of me saying, Catherine, look what I'm doing. Fund my project. Give me money. In fact, she said that her 8-year-old granddaughter describes her life as someone comes up and goes, Grandma, you smell nice. Can you give me some money? That's how she described her 8-year-old granddaughter describing her work. So very wealthy, very successful. It doesn't matter. I still asked how I can help her. And she turned around, said she needed help with something. And by offering, right? So if you're a woman, but everyone needs something. And my mantra these days is, even Mark Cuban needs something.
True.
And how many times do you think Mark Cuban has heard, how can I help you?
Probably not a lot.
Probably not a lot. It's probably what? Gimme. Give me money. I got a project. Me.
Yeah.
Give me my autograph. I want an autograph. I want a picture with you. Me. But
yeah, right.
whatever, right? I want to see a Dallas Maverick. Whatever it is that you want to do. But instead, my suggestion, and this is a social media suggestion, is flip the script. How can I help you?
So if I'm doing social media, and let's talk about LinkedIn, because I think so many of us, LinkedIn is, we're in business. LinkedIn is where you get business, right?
Yeah.
How do I say that through LinkedIn?
Well, great question. So I was at a talk back in May. One of my accountant colleagues is a CPA at a top 15 firm. He invited me to speak at his group, and I did. And I said, what can I do for you, Paul? And Paul said, I want to meet real estate attorneys. So I went on LinkedIn and Facebook both. I put a status update. I said, a colleague of mine is looking to meet real estate attorneys. Can someone help? I got him 18 leads that way.
Wow.
Because all my contacts are me. This one, that one, this one, that one, this one. I said, Paul, how much is that worth to you? And he did his little accounting thing in his head. He was like, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So then it sounds...
And it cost me nothing.
Yes, but it sounds to me like you're very connected to your community and, what I would deem your community in LinkedIn and Facebook. Is that
Yes.
true?
I post content that has nothing to do with me. I don't post selfies of my toes at the beach. I don't post what I ate for breakfast unless I'm promoting a business and say I'm having this great breakfast at this great place I really like. Their coffee's fantastic. Go tell the owner I said hello, right? Because my friend Dino owns a place up in Clinton, New Jersey. And I'll promote his restaurant. But it's not about me at all. And this is another thing I tell all my clients, and I'll tell you, Jean, and no offense, but nobody cares about you.
Right? I understand.
Whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. No, we're all selfish. And so I use that as an opportunity, both on and offline. So number one, post content that's not about you at all. Thank your friends for helping you. Give them recommendations on LinkedIn. Say thank you. If you have a new website that you got redone and you want to promote it, don't say, check out my new website, because no one cares. Instead, you can say, thank you, my friends David and Tanya, or Rachel Durkin, right? Thank you, Rachel Durkin, for redoing my website. Look at the great job she did.
Right, yeah.
So you're sort of creatively not promoting yourself, but by promoting yourself. And yeah, you have a question, a comment.
I do, because I'm like, oh my God, but I'm always full of questions. So, all right, so I'm a woman business owner. Well, that's true. I am a woman.
Yes, you are.
And there are people who are watching you today. And so the fact is that how do they get started on LinkedIn? What do they need to do? And there might be, millennials, who, younger people who use LinkedIn all the time, but they've used it to get a job. And there might be older people who are like, well, I don't really even know what the thing is. So what do we do?
Well, let me just say this. It's not a function of age. I've coached kids in their 20s, and I know kids in their, I shouldn't say kids, young adults. That's really condescending. I'm sorry. Young adults, both men and women, who are using physical calendars and writing calendars with a pen and paper. I've seen it, right? So it's not a function of age. In fact, I'd say amongst the people younger than millennials, the young professionals under millennials are really kind of a backlash against social media in a lot of ways.
I will say those are called Generation Zers. They're Zers.
There's whatever they're called, right? Whatever they're called, they are revolting.
Okay.
They're sick of being marketed to. They're sick of being promoted to. They're sick of, when like Instagram or Pinterest or Snapchat, it's good because they want to talk to their friends, but then the marketers start trying to monetize that. And they're just like, leave me alone. I just want to talk to my friends. Because social media at its core is just people talking to people through technology. So to get started on LinkedIn, a great way to get started on LinkedIn is to give. Okay. One of the things that you can give recommendations on LinkedIn. You go to someone's profile, you can click on, it's like a little drop down menu next to the name and it says recommend. Recommend. I say action item, give 5 recommendations to 5 colleagues.
Every week? Once a month?
Just one time thing.
One-time
Just,
thing. Okay.
just one time, give 5. I had a client I advised to do that. That person called the next day, thanked them, and gave them a lead, which closed.
Wow.
Honest to God, I got an email that says, it's better to give than to receive, but receiving is pretty good too. And so by giving, by recommending people, and by saying thank you for the work you've done, you're totally flipping the script. So forget about getting, and both on and offline. Focus all your efforts on giving. It feels good, and it happens to be very profitable. Because I'll tell you what's happened to me is that recently, the past 6 months or so, people have come up to me and they've said, "You're David Deutsc, aren't you?" I'm sorry, what? I'm told I need to meet you. Really? How amazing is that? Can you get better marketing than have people say, "I need to meet you"? I'm told by many people I need to meet you. In my little small business community in northern New Jersey. I mean, but it's a wonderful feeling, and it happens to be lucrative to give. But I got that by accident by giving. And I've connected to a number of very wealthy individuals, a number of them, and I never asked them for a dime. I always said, "How can I help you?" And I try to every single time, and I actually follow up. So, like I said, the basics, you still have to do stuff, you still have to follow up, but using the online technology to take that to that next level and share, help others with your social networks, just only exponentially increases your ability to help others.
So you brought up a good thing. There's 2 things that make me think about it. So it seems like LinkedIn is just networking online. Is that true?
It's called social networking for a reason.
Okay. And then how much time do I have to spend on this? Every day, every week, every month, every year?
That depends on what you want, right? So my suggestion to get started, an hour a week. And what I suggest people to get started with is, number 1, give recommendations. 2, post status updates that are, thank you for this one. I endorsed this one for that or whatever. Not endorsements. Forget about the LinkedIn endorsements. I'm talking about like writing a status update. Had a great one-on-one with so-and-so. Thank you for your time. But there's another really cool proactive thing that I've learned on LinkedIn and I've shared with Eugene, which you've, I think, used to great success, is looking through your connections Rolodexes. So if you view LinkedIn as not just your contacts, but access to your contacts Rolodexes, that can put a lot of money in your pocket.
How do you do that? Oh, goodness. That always happens. Sorry about that.
That wasn't me, was it? No, okay, good.
It wasn't you, it's me.
It's you. Ha. So what I do is when you go to someone's LinkedIn profile, it says like the number of connections they have on the right. Like sometimes it's 500 plus. And you know what? Don't worry about the number of people. It's about quality.
500 plus?
I'm sorry?
Don't you think I should be 500 plus?
I don't think that another guy at the Jumpstart Network has 378, whatever. Do you think he needs 500 plus? Someone who's an investor who probably is worth more money than I'll ever see in my lifetime?
I don't know.
I don't. Quality matters more than quantity.
Okay, so I shouldn't LinkedIn with every single Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Well, again, I don't mean to be. Some people take the approach. Our colleague David Wolfscale, and David Wolfscale has he calls it the golden retriever. He's right. Either everyone is my friend or wants to be my friend. That's his words, not mine. I think it's great. But there's whatever your objectives are. My approach is quality over quantity because I want to get and give quality referrals.
Okay.
So you go to someone's profile, click on the number of connections. That brings you to their Rolodex. And there's a little magnifying glass. You can click on the magnifying glass and type in who you want to meet. So I work with a lot of CPAs, with Whitman Business Advisors, CPA consultants. And so I type in magnifying glass, CPA, and I see my connections. I'm able to search through my contacts, and then ask the person I know for an introduction to those people.
And okay, so how do I ask for an introduction?
Hi. How are you? Great seeing you the other day.
If I saw them.
If you saw them, or it's been a while, we should get together. I was wondering if I looked through LinkedIn, I saw you're connected to Jean Oursler. I work with CPA consultants, and Jean is clearly a fantastic CPA.
Well, I'm not, but yeah.
And I'd like to just meet with her to see if I can support her growth somehow, because we work with all these accounting firms, and I'd love to just have an informal, would you mind making an introduction? And then critically, at the end, I say, if you can't make the introduction for any reason, no problem, just let me know either way.
So you let them off their hook.
I state my intent and then give them an out.
And I guess, having worked with you, one of the things I will say is that the importance of knowing the people who are that you are linked in with, and would they be willing to give you that connection? Because if they're not going to be willing to give you that connection, then why are they sitting in your LinkedIn?
That's my point.
Right?
That's exactly my point.
If they are sitting in the LinkedIn connection and you don't know if they're going to make that connection for you, then you got to get to know that person from a connection point of view. Would you agree?
When we first started working together, do you remember, Jean? When you were like, who's that? Like, you were asking for introductions. Who's that? And I was like, these are like financial advisors you need to be speaking with. And so we ended up doing just the first degree search and found a whole bunch of people you were already connected to. And you got meetings right away with those people, didn't you?
That's true. And what happened is that every time I met with someone, I linked in with them. Of course, I have to tell you, I've been on LinkedIn since it first started because a client of mine said, you need to be on this thing. Of course, I haven't utilized it until I met you and then utilized it correctly. But with that said, the fact is that everybody in my LinkedIn I know. I know them. Either I've had coffee with them, I've had a conversation with them, I know them.
Right.
And they would be willing to make an introduction for me. And I think that's really the rule. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. To me, the old school networks are the most important, and all you're doing is using technology to take that to that next level. It's really, I'm an old school networker. I don't have a lot of hair left. I'm old school. I'm the guy who really just wants to, give, but meet people, shake the hands, kiss the babies. That's probably the most important part. And just using LinkedIn and Facebook and whatever, just to take that to that slightly different and more amazing level. So instead of, Gene, keep me in mind for accountants, it's, Gene, here are 3 accountants you're connected to. Could you introduce me to one of them or to any of them?
Do you think that's very forward?
I find that if I like, know, and trust them, and they really like, know, and trust me, it's not at all a problem. If I've gone out of my way to help them, they are saying, please let me know how I can help you. That's what's really amazing. When you really help people and really open doors for them, they want to help you. They feel indebted to helping you.
Really?
And then they become your sales force. This is what's happened to me. And again, I didn't do this. This wasn't my plan. I just am being my sort of silly self and running around helping people because I don't know what the hell else to do. I'm just making it up as I go along, like most entrepreneurs. All right, so entrepreneurs, I think, are largely no one knows what they're doing. We like to pretend like we do. Seriously, because by definition, no one's done it before, so how could they, right? You're kind of just fooling around and, hoping something doesn't screw up one day. That's basically entrepreneurship. And so, so for me, I just kept helping people and helping people and helping people. And then when I say I want to meet accountants, I have people emailing me like crazy. David, I met this accountant. You need to meet them because I helped them. They want to help me because I helped them. That wasn't my intention. It's never my intention to get, but that's what happens.
So then can you give us an example of how you helped a business owner generate leads through LinkedIn and what the results were of that?
So we're hitting pause on a project I'm working with a top 30 accounting firm. They said I'm allowed to use their name, but I'd rather not. So I'll just tell you real fast. They're a top 30, $200 million accounting firm. I started working with their chief marketing officer, 3 of their staff. 2 were the practice leaders, and 1 was the director of business development. And we got our kickoff meeting. The BD guy was actively hosile, really, truly actively hostile. He was probably going to throw something at me in the middle of the meeting. If he could have, you're going to take my job away. This is going to screw me up, and you're going to take my work away. And I'm like, look, take it up with your managing partner because he's the guy who said yes. So we get on our first conference call. The first thing we're doing is updating his profile, and he was even worse. He was just every sentence he pushed me on, and it was really, really awful. And then I was like, look, we're in this together, whether you like it or not. Your firm's paying me. You're doing this, so you may as well just change your attitude. Because I didn't say that, but I really wanted to. And so what I did was I went through the process and I said, for whatever reason, I said, I'm going to find this guy life sciences leads. I don't know why. I just decided life sciences leads. And I found like 7 good pre-qualified warm introductions to life sciences. And he said to me, my life sciences practice leader just yesterday was giving me a hard time for not getting enough leads. Thank you. He then upsold me to 3 new people in the firm. A guy who originally wouldn't connect with me on LinkedIn is now connected with me on Facebook. He's a Facebook friend of mine. And now he's running around selling me to everybody. So, we're hitting pause because they need to close some of the deals that I put nearly 350 warm opportunities in front of them.
Wow.
Nearly 350. If 5% of those close, that's like $1 million.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So if they don't close, that's kind of not my. You're more the closing coach. I'm the door opener. I'll open the doors, but you got to close the deals. That's not really my forte. If you need sales coaching, I'll refer Jean or whoever.
Yes, but it seems to me that if I'm a woman watching this today, that every person I meet when I collect a card, I should be linking into. Correct?
Depends on your objectives.
Okay. Tell me
Depends
more.
on what you're trying to do.
Okay.
I mean, so for me, right, I work with accountants. Almost everyone knows an accountant. So I want to meet everybody because almost everyone knows a CPA. It's just the way it is. So I'm very fortunate. It's just meet them, try to find an accountant. Fairly straightforward. What are you trying to do? And who's going to be a good lead for you? And who's going to be a good lead source for you? So I have a few colleagues who do mortgage brokering, and they're very, very good at mortgage brokering. But I don't come across people who need mortgages. So, theoretically, I shouldn't be the right person if I just met them randomly at a thing. It's like I don't come across people with mortgages, and I don't come across accountants. Maybe stay in touch. Maybe you'll do something. I wouldn't call it a priority. I would call before you even link on LinkedIn. I like to say just put this online stuff aside. Focus on doing a good job. Focus on helping people first. The other stuff comes later. I know you're probably surprised to hear the social media guy. I've been doing social media consulting for over 6 years, right? Yeah. I've been on LinkedIn for over 11 years.
And you're very good at it.
Thank you. I've been on Facebook since 2006. I've been on LinkedIn since 2005. I've been on Meetup since 2003. I've been on this for a really, really long time. And in my professional opinion, put it aside. Do a good job first. Be a good person first. Be a good businesswoman first. The other stuff comes later. LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, all right, fine. But until you like, know, and trust each other, the leads aren't going to come.
So then if I know you and I linked in with you and I spend time building a relationship with you, then I can search your people to get a referral. And it actually seems to me a shorter way or quicker way of finding people. Is that true?
That's right. It's a quick way to find people. And also what happens is by accident, when you say, hey, I need my colleague is so-and-so, all your connections are seeing that you're the person, you're the woman who is the center of influence. Like, who is this guy? He's posting his friends' jobs openings and he keeps helping people out. Who is this person? I need to meet them.
And it only takes an hour a week, so I could do like 20 minutes a day. So 10 minutes a day.
Or Monday morning from 8 to 9.
And that's it. And I'll still get results from doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact is that what you're saying is use LinkedIn wisely. Don't just use it to use it.
Isn't that like anything?
I know, but the fact is that social media is social media, right?
Yes. Well, it's still in the real world, and people get so bogged down in all the details. And I'm not a technical person, and blah 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 blah. And it's really and LinkedIn is not a user-friendly platform. It's a pain in the neck to navigate. I'm not going to lie. I haven't been very good at it. That's only because I got a lot of practice. I mean, I would love to see it get streamlined and improved. It is what it is. At the end of the day, it's just like a phone in a lot of ways, except you're not talking to one person, you're talking to networks of people. So all the fancy schmancy and Instagram, all the campaigns and sponsored posts and hashtags, use it to talk to people and use it to give. It's a communication tool.
I like that.
Bring it right back to, so I feel like my role, my tiny little role in the social media world is to bring it back to reality, bring social media back down to earth. Forget about all the fancy schmancy stuff. Talk to people, share funny content, and don't talk politics.
Especially nowadays.
No, never. Not even. So right now, you're maybe seeing this after the election. We either have a President Clinton or a President Trump. Whatever. We have one of those two come November. Right now it's September 30th, 2016. So I don't know who's going to win, but no matter what, don't talk politics. And here's why. So I have people on my Facebook who talk politics and they insult me personally. I have a colleague who posted a picture of someone with Hillary stickers on the back of her this person's truck, and he posted a picture and he said, this must be parked in the handicap spot. My mom was handicapped.
So it seems to me that you should stick to content that highlights the good in you, as well as the good that you do for other people's businesses.
And more importantly, know your audience and give them what they want.
And
It's not about me at all.
No, it's about them.
It's always about them. Who's your audience and what do they want? Years ago, I was coaching this young guy, and I remember his startup which failed. But he was like, I'm trying to get college students to use my. What do I do? What do I do? I said, what do college students? He's like, he's trying to post statistics, and he's like, I'm not getting anywhere. I said, what do college students want? He goes, free food. I'm like, then give them free food. And he ran out. Sorry, he ran out, and he ended up partnering with like pizza chains and this and that to give free, because that's what they want. Know your audience. If your target market is college students, they want food that doesn't involve ramen noodles.
So with that said, I know that you have a gift to give to our viewers today. What is that gift? Because we're all giving. I know that.
Yes. So, anyone who wants to contact me, find me on LinkedIn. You'll know because mine has like Chinese characters next to my name. I speak a little Mandarin.
David Deutsc.
David Deutsc.
David Deutsc.
Deutsch, and it'll have little Chinese characters. If you can read Chinese, it's pronounced Du Da Wei. But anyway, so find me, connect me on LinkedIn. Say you saw me here so I know who you are because if someone connects with me, I don't know who they are.
Say you saw it on the Get Results TV show.
With Jean Oursler.
Right.
And then what I'll do is I'll give you 30 minutes on the house, no obligation, no nothing, 30 minutes, how to generate more leads with LinkedIn that you'll know what to do with.
And I will tell you that David does give from his heart where that's concerned. He's absolutely, truly, truth. And take him up on it. So David Deutsc with the ones with the Chinese characters, tell him it's Get Television, Jean Results Queen. You don't even need my last name. And, you can see it right here. Look, it says it right there. And David will give you a half an hour about how to generate more leads through LinkedIn. And
I'm so glad that there are women entrepreneurs out there who really, I can't even imagine what women deal with the harassment, with the being interrupted, with the not being taken seriously. And I mean that, it's really, call me new fashioned, but I actually think that people should be judged based on what they deliver, not their gender. Whatever you want to call me, I don't care. Just don't call me stupid.
Right?
Or don't call me late for dinner. That's right. And and it's so great to have that the women get the support. And thank you for allowing me to share with your women audience here today some of sort of what I've learned. And hopefully you'll be able to come away with this with some action items. I want you to leave my 30-minute thing not as a way to sell, but I want you to have action items for you to grow your business in those 30 minutes. And
I can summarize for you, right? So the action items is make sure that you link in with the people that you know, like, and trust, right? If you don't know them, don't ask for a connection. Give on LinkedIn, give 5 recommendations to people that you know. You only have to spend an hour per week. So maybe either an hour in the morning on Monday or 15 minutes today. It's not a big deal. And you can go and give recommendations to people. And then look for people who are connected to your target audience and ask for an introduction.
And let me say this. So a lot of people, they're hesitant because they don't want to make a mistake. I make a mistake, it's there forever. Look, we're all prone to mistakes. The question is that I can tell you stories of mistakes I've made on social media. But here's what you do. Let's say you make a big mistake.
Okay.
What do? You say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Here's what I learned from it. Here's how you shouldn't do the same.
Got it.
I made a mistake. I'm owning up to it.
Okay. And it's okay. So again, for getting David's free 30-minute gift, because you all should be taking advantage of this, is you go to David Deutsc through LinkedIn, mention Get Results TV and the Results Queen, and David will give you a free half hour. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be worth every single moment. David, do you have any other words of advice in terms of getting results? Otherwise, we're done.
So my Uncle Al, we had a Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you saw it on Facebook, Gene. He's 81. He turned his childhood hobby into a multi-million-dollar business of amateur telescope making. And he's filing his next patent now. And I asked him the same question. I said, Uncle Al, you have any final thoughts? He says, never grow up.
Oh, I like that.
So from someone who's 81 years old, who's as enthusiastic about astronomy as he was 15, it's not my wisdom. It's someone who's far more successful than I am, right? Never grow up and just be your authentic self, whatever that happens to be.
I love that. And I'm going to say to all of you, never give up. Continue to have courage and continue to move forward. I'm Jean Oursler, the Results Queen, speaking today with David Deutsc. And this is Get Results Television. Thank you so much for joining us and have a fantastic day.
Thanks, everyone.